If anyone had ever asked me what the most painful thing in my life was, I wouldn't hesitate to answer, not being betrayed by a lover, but being stabbed in the back by my own family. My name is Caleb, 31 years old. I was about to marry the woman I loved. Emma, 28 years old, after 2 years of a relationship filled with hopes for a shared future. As for Marcus, my younger brother, 29 years old, lived about a 15-minute drive away. He was a fitness trainer, famous for his shirtless photos, showing off his muscles on social media. My family, well, it could be described as complicated, especially my mother, Laura, 55 years old, who always thought her youngest son was the shining star, while I was just a faint shadow, not worth paying attention to. At first, the signs were very small. My mother's comments during meals. Emma, you know, women sometimes need a husband who is strong, present, not someone who just buries himself in work like Caleb. Or the times she would scoff when I talked about my long working hours, or the furtive, meaningful glances Laura would exchange with Marcus whenever Emma spoke. But I brushed it all aside. I told myself I was being too paranoid, that Mom had always been like that, bitter but harmless. Until one July afternoon, Laura invited Emma over to discuss wedding plans while I was still at the construction site. But that day, fate was kind to me. Work finished early, and I decided to drop by. I walked to the door about to knock, when I heard my mother's voice. No, it was honeyed words being poured into Emma's ear. Caleb only knows how to make money. Then he'll leave you high and dry. You need a real man. Emma, someone like Marcus. Strong, vibrant, and there for you. I stood there, frozen. Then Emma's voice trembling. Laura, I don't know. Marcus has texted me a few times. Nothing serious, but... My heart sank. And before they could come up with any more excuses, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room froze Laura. My mother wore a look of triumph. Emma's face was ashen, her hand quickly concealing the phone on the table. I didn't yell, didn't cry, and didn't need to make a scene like in the movies. I just said, my voice calm, so this is what you call discussing wedding plans. Laura held her head high, as if she had just saved my life. Someone had to lay down the truth. Caleb, you're just like your father. All you know is work. You don't know how to love anyone. I turned to Emma. Let me see the messages. Emma clutched her phone tightly. She was silent. No more words were needed. I left, leaving behind their calls, their belated tears and a cold smile on my mother's lips. When I got home, my phone blew up, 19 missed calls from my mother, from Marcus, and worst of all, from Emma. They all wanted to explain, but I didn't need any more explanations because I understood. Some stabs don't come from enemies, but from the very people we once trusted the most. And right then, I swore to myself, I won't cry. I won't beg. I'll let them destroy each other, and I will rise stronger than ever. I couldn't sleep that night. Texts, calls, and fake apologies kept flooding my phone, but I remained silent, put it on silent mode, and stared at the dark ceiling. Inside, I no longer felt pain, only a feeling, a cold emptiness. The next morning, Emma was gone. She sent a cold text. I'm staying at my sister's for a few days. I need time to think. Need time to think. After what I heard yesterday, after the ambiguous messages she was hiding, I let out a bitter laugh. Mom wouldn't let it go. Laura kept calling, leaving voicemails as long as speeches. Don't make such a big deal out of everything. I just want what's best for this family. Marcus is the one who's right for Emma. I didn't bother answering. There was nothing left to say to that woman. But then, things got even worse than I imagined. My best friend Patrick called me that very evening, his voice urgent. Caleb, do you know Marcus has been hanging around the coffee shop near Emma's work lately? I froze. Not coincidence, not chance. Marcus had been actively approaching Emma little by little, day by day, under my mother's direction. They thought I wouldn't notice. They thought I'd be forever buried in work, oblivious to what was happening right in front of my eyes. I decided to get to the bottom of everything. On Thursday evening, Emma texted me that she was going to meet a close friend as usual, and I drove straight to the apartment complex where Marcus lived. My heart was pounding not with fear, but with fury. Emma's car was parked right in front of the building in the visitor parking. I sat in my car looking up at the ground floor apartment. Light flickered from the TV, and through the thin curtains I saw them, Marcus and Emma, sitting close together on the sofa. Her head was resting on his shoulder. They were laughing together at the laptop screen, as if nothing else in the world mattered. I got out of the car, calmly, without a single curse word. I knocked hard on the door. Marcus opened it, wearing the tight-fitting t-shirt he usually wore when showing off his body online. Emma was wearing the sweater I had bought her for her birthday. As soon as our eyes met, she shrank back as if she wanted to disappear from the world. Marcus tried to force a smile. "Bro, it's not what you think." I gave a cold smile. "Not what I think? Then let me ask you straight. How long has this been going on?" Emma burst into tears, her voice barely audible. 2 months. 2 months. 2 months. Emma had been lying to me. 2 months, Marcus had been stabbing me in the back. I stepped back, my voice low and cold as steel. "Good. I just wanted to know for sure." Marcus stepped forward, about to pat me on the shoulder. "We're family, bro. We can work this out." I looked him up and down. Family where you hit on your older brother's fiancée." Marcus's face flushed, his hands clenching into fists, about to start a fight. But he forgot one thing. I wasn't the weakling he thought I was. I grabbed his arm, twisted it behind his back, and shoved him roughly against the wall. The room was silent. Emma stood frozen, her eyes red. I sneered. "You two are a perfect match." And I left without looking back. That night my mother called. I put her on speakerphone. Laura's slurred laughter echoed. "Caleb, come on. Marcus is a real man. Emma needs someone like that. All you know is burying yourself in work." I hung up. No cursing, no anger, just pity. They thought I would endure it, that I would beg, kneel, plead for forgiveness. They didn't understand that my silence was the sign of their downfall, and I was ready. Ready for the long game where this time I would be the one leading. I didn't rush into revenge. No exposing posts, no accusatory texts, and no need to shout for everyone to know I was the victim. Because I understood. Traitors destroy themselves faster than any retaliation. My job was just to help them speed up that process. First, I started collecting evidence. Every text message Marcus sent Emma, seducing, inviting. Every photo of them together during their accidental encounters. The coffee and restaurant bills where they happened to be together. Even the messages my mother sent Emma encouraging her to choose the real man. Everything was carefully stored. No need to rush, and nothing was missed. I knew the timing for release had to be precise, like a fatal stab. At the same time, I quietly investigated Marcus's work. He always bragged about his personal trainer career and huge supplement sales. But thanks to a friend who worked at the tax office, I knew Marcus was selling without a license, taking cash under the table to evade taxes, and even selling fake supplements, relabeling them. I smiled. No need to get my hands dirty. Just send this information to the right places and let them do the rest. As for Emma, she tried to appear heartbroken, a barrage of texts. "I'm sorry. Your mother pressured me. I don't want to lose you." I read them all, but I didn't reply. She wasn't sorry for betraying me. She was just regretting realizing Marcus wasn't the stepping stone she thought he was. My mother was still persistent. Accusatory calls. "Why are you making such a big deal out of this? Marcus and Emma are truly in love. Truly in love. 2 months of sneaking around behind my back, and she calls that true love." I didn't argue. I let her believe I was falling apart. I let them think I would back down, because nothing makes a traitor more complacent than silence. Meanwhile, I focused on myself, spending time at the gym, completing a management course I had previously put off, applying for a higher position at work. I turned my rage into motivation. Day by day, little by little, I rebuilt a stronger version of myself. 3 weeks later, a text from Patrick made me laugh. "Breaking news. Marcus's training license suspended. Someone sent evidence of fake supplements and tax evasion to the Fitness Association." Oh, someone. Perhaps it was karma. A few days later, my mother called crying. "Caleb, how could you do this to your own brother?" I just sneered. I didn't do anything. It's just that someone who lives a dirty life reaps what they sow. What about Emma? She started showing up at the coffee shop I frequented, looking at me from afar. Her eyes filled with regret. Once she approached me. "Caleb, I miss you." I nodded politely. "Yeah, thanks, but I don't remember you anymore." And I walked away, leaving Emma standing alone in the crowded cafe. No need to yell in anyone's face. No need to lower myself. Just leave with my self-respect intact. I knew. This was just the prelude, because the real party where Marcus, Emma, and even Laura would face the consequences of their actions was still waiting ahead. And this time, I wouldn't just sit silently. I would watch them crumble, little by little. That day came sooner than I expected. An emergency family meeting was organized by my mother, Laura. under the guise of reconnecting family ties. But everyone understood she just wanted to whitewash Marcus and Emma in front of the relatives. I came, not because I wanted to hear excuses, but because I had prepared everything for the finale. When I walked into the living room, the atmosphere was so heavy you could cut it with a knife. Marcus sat, avoiding my gaze, the bruise on his face still visible, the result of his recent troubles. Emma kept her head down, her hair almost completely covering her face. My mother, Laura, still tried to maintain a haughty demeanor, though her eyes betrayed a hint of panic. The meal was awkward. Everyone just picked at their food. Finally, Laura spoke, her voice full of theatrics. "Caleb, we're family. Everyone makes mistakes. It's time to forgive and start over." I leaned back in my chair, nodding. "You're right, Mom. Family needs to be honest with each other." I took out my phone and connected it to the Bluetooth speaker on the table. A voice echoed, none other than Laura's, from the recording I had made at her house. "Emma, you need a real man. Caleb only knows how to bury himself in work. Marcus will give you what you need." The air froze. Marcus's mouth hung open. Emma's face was as white as a sheet. Laura shot up, pointing at me. You secretly recorded me." I smiled. "You taught me to put family first, Mom, so I just wanted the whole family to hear the truth." Before they could react, I played the second clip. Marcus and Emma's whispering voices in their texts, discussing secret meetings, hiding it from Caleb, waiting until after the wedding to figure things out. Some relatives shook their heads. Others got up and left the room. My mother's face was flushed. Marcus kept his head down, not daring to say anything. Emma burst into tears, sobbing. I was pressured." I cut her off coldly. "No one can force a traitor, Emma. They just need a little reason to justify their actions. To end this shameful gathering." I stood up, speaking directly. "I don't need this kind of family. I also don't need rotten relationships patched up with lies. From today, I'm cutting ties." I turned my back and walked out the door, while behind me my mother's desperate cries echoed, and the sound of a chair falling as Marcus slammed his hand on the table. No need to turn back. No need to say more. My life started over from that moment. That evening, as I sat alone on the porch, a cold beer in my hand, a strange sense of peace filled me. No more anger, no more resentment, only pure freedom, the freedom I had reclaimed from those who had tried to bury it. I smiled, whispering to myself, "Thank you, you all. Thanks to your betrayal, I know how much I truly value myself." 2 months after Judgment Day, my life had completely changed. No more sleepless nights, no more pleading calls, no more pitying glances or whispers behind my back. Only me, a completely new Caleb. My career advanced faster than I thought. Thanks to focusing 100% of my energy, I was promoted to lead technician with a salary 1.5 times higher than before. Instead of sitting alone thinking about people who weren't worth it, I spent time on myself. Regular gym sessions, learning new skills, joining community networking events. Finally, I understood. No one saves you except yourself. And then, like an unexpected gift, I met Ava, a girl with a radiant smile, clear eyes and a warm heart. We met at a startup workshop. No demands, no comparisons, no calculations. Just two people finding each other and healing old wounds together. As for them, Marcus, after the tax evasion and fake supplement scandal, was now unemployed, living off his mother. Emma, ostracized by friends and colleagues, had left town. No one mentioned her anymore. Laura. My mother lost significant credibility in the community, and her real estate office closed due to lack of clients. They thought I would break down, but they forgot one thing. Truly kind people can endure a lot, but once they stand up, they never look back. One cool evening, Ava and I sat on the small balcony of my new apartment. She leaned her head on my shoulder, whispering, "Do you regret what happened?" I gently shook my head. No, because if it weren't for those people, I would have never truly known my own strength. Ava squeezed my hand, and under the starry sky, I knew my life had just opened a new chapter, better, more beautiful, more vibrant. A chapter where I held the pen, and no one could write it for me again. Sometimes pain isn't meant to break you, but to awaken the strong person you were always meant to be. Being betrayed doesn't make you weak, forgiving yourself and moving on. That's true strength. If today's story resonates with you, please click like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with those who need a small flame during stormy days. Because who knows, just one story might be enough to help someone find the light within themselves again. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next journeys.